Welcome to the Silent Casebook. We uncover the crimes that slip through the cracks, the ones that remain hidden for years, festering in the shadows while the world moves on unaware. Some cases are gruesome, others are shocking, but the most disturbing crimes, they are the ones that go unnoticed, concealed behind closed doors by those who seem the least suspicious. For years, Virginia McCullough lived in a house of death. She didn't just commit murder, she buried the truth, manipulating those around her while maintaining the illusion of a normal life. She sent messages in her parents' names, collected their pensions, and convinced everyone that they were still alive. But inside that house, the reality was far more sinister. 2 bodies lay hidden, her own parents, who she'd brutally murdered. It's a case that defies belief, a crime so carefully concealed that it took 4 years to unravel. But like all secrets, it couldn't stay buried forever. Virginia McCullough was not a name that stood out in the quiet town of Great Baddow in Essex. To the outside world, she was just another resident, an aspiring artist still living at home with her parents. But behind the doors of the McCullough family home, a sinister reality was unfolding, one that would remain hidden for 4 years. To understand how Virginia reached the point of murder, we must first understand where she came from. Born on October the 20th in 1987 in Chelmsford in Essex, Virginia was the youngest of 5 daughters. Her father, John McCullough, was a business studies lecturer at Anglia Ruskin University and a management consultant. Her mother, Lois McCullough, suffered from anxiety and agoraphobia, rarely leaving the house. She was known for a strict, obsessive need for cleanliness and order, controlling every aspect of their family home. The McCulloughs were considered reclusive by the neighbours. John and Lois dressed in an old-fashioned manner, resembling a couple stuck in the 1950s, and had little contact with the outside world. For Virginia, childhood was isolating. She attended local schools but struggled socially, often bullied and teased for her appearance. As the years passed, she became increasingly withdrawn, deceptive, and desperate to escape the rigid confines of her home life. But Virginia never truly left. Unlike her siblings who moved on to start their own lives, she remained in the family home well into adulthood. She assured her parents that she was working on an art career, that success was just around the corner, but the truth was far darker. Virginia was spiraling. She was not earning an income, but instead amassing nearly £60,000 in debt, fraudulently using her parents' names on credit cards and forging documents to sustain the illusion of stability. But illusions don't last forever. By June 2019, her financial deception was on the verge of being exposed. And so Virginia made a choice, a final, irreversible choice. Sometime between the 17th and 20th of June 2019, Virginia poisoned her father. She administered a lethal combination of prescription medications, crushing them into his alcoholic drinks. While the exact drugs remain unspecified, the mixture was potent enough to kill him within days. But one body wasn't enough. Shortly after, Virginia turned to her mother, but this time she did not use poison, she used violence. Lois was laying in bed listening to the radio when Virginia struck her over the head with a hammer. Lois's final moments were filled with confusion and terror, her last conscious moments with the realization that her own daughter was attacking her. She managed to ask, "What are you doing?" fighting back in a desperate attempt to survive, but Virginia didn't stop. Lois sustained multiple defensive injuries, trying to shield herself from the attack. Then Virginia stabbed her mother 8 times, with 7 of those wounds piercing her chest. Within minutes, tragically, Lois was dead. It was the ultimate betrayal, a daughter murdering the 2 people who had given her everything. But the most disturbing part is that the murders were just the beginning. 2 murders, 2 lifeless bodies, and a house that now carried the weight of an unimaginable crime. For most people, the aftermath of murder is immediate panic, fear of discovery, an attempt to flee, or even a poorly planned cover-up. But for Virginia, she did something different, something far more chilling. She stayed. Virginia McCullough took deliberate steps to conceal their bodies within the family home in Essex and maintained the facade of normality for 4 years. For her father, Virginia created what can only be described as a makeshift tomb within his downstairs study, sealing his remains in a separate space. This structure was composed of masonry blocks stacked together, secured with white filler, and formed a rectangular enclosure. The tomb was covered with multiple blankets and adorned with pictures and paintings. John's body was wrapped in a sleeping bag and concealed with layers of plastic and other materials. Whether it was out of fear, guilt, or sheer pragmatism, she took deliberate steps to ensure his body wouldn't be easily discovered. But for her mother, the concealment was far less dignified. In contrast, Virginia concealed her mother Lois by wrapping her body in a sleeping bag and placing it inside a wardrobe in an upstairs bedroom. She sealed the wardrobe to prevent detection. This wasn't a temporary solution. She did not plan on moving her mother's body elsewhere. This wardrobe, this makeshift coffin, would be where Lois would remain for the next 4 years. And Virginia simply continued living in the house. She ate meals in the same home where her parents' bodies decayed. She slept just feet away from their remains. She walked through the rooms steeped in the scent of death and decomposition, and yet she carried on as if nothing had changed. Remarkably, during the 4 years following the murders, there were no reported complaints from neighbours about unusual odours emanating from the house. Virginia managed to mask any signs of decomposition, maintaining the illusion that her parents were still alive. How she managed to mask the unmistakable stench of decay for so long remains a mystery. She told persistent lies about their whereabouts, cancelling family arrangements and frequently informing doctors and relatives that her parents were unwell, on holiday, or away on lengthy trips. What we do know is that the outside world remained oblivious. For 4 years, Virginia successfully deceived everyone, friends, family, even financial institutions. But concealing 2 bodies wasn't her only crime. Virginia's deception extended beyond concealing the bodies. She continued to withdraw her parents' pensions and used their credit cards, benefiting financially from their deaths. She engaged in online gambling, spending significant sums of money. Her actions were driven by financial gain and a desire to maintain her lifestyle without arousing suspicion. The truth remained hidden until September 2023. A GP from her parents' medical practice grew concerned after noticing that John had failed to collect medication and missed multiple appointments. Virginia had cancelled many of these appointments herself, offering a range of excuses. These concerns were reported to Essex County Council safeguarding team, which then alerted the police. Initially treating the case as a missing persons investigation, officers spoke to Virginia, who claimed they were away travelling and would return in October. However, inconsistencies in her account led officers to search the property. On September the 15th, 2023, officers arrived at Pump Hill, Virginia's home. When they forced entry, she immediately confessed. Her 4-year deception had finally come to an end. During the search, Virginia confessed to the murders, stating, "I did know this day would come eventually. I deserve to get what's coming, sentence-wise, because that's the right thing to do, and then that might give me a bit of peace." This is a recording from the police body-worn cameras.
It's fine. No one in here at the moment. Hold on. It's the police. Got it. Stay where you are. Stay where you are. Stay where you are. Show your hands. You there?
Jenny?
Yep.
Jenny?
Yeah.
Oh. The time is 12:12. You're under arrest on suspicion of murder against Jonathan McCullough and Elias McCullough.
Yeah,
Okay?
okay.
You don't say anything, but it may harm defence. You do not
No, I just
mention
take my coffee.
when questioned, so much like you want anything to do so with your business. Okay? Alright, your arrest is
I'll
necessary
cooperate, I'll
for a prompt
cooperate.
and effective.
Is there anything in the pocket we should know about?
Yes, there
Where?
is. Can I take you to it?
No, you can tell me.
Can we go in there for a second, just so I can tell you something about what's in there?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Thank you. And then
I want to tell us
the only
something.
reason I said I need to tell you something about what's upstairs on the top floor as well.
It's fine.
Yeah, okay.
Is it here?
Yeah.
Yes, mind your feet, obviously.
Yeah. I'm so not that
No, it's fine.
I know, but obviously I've got to be careful. My dad's body's in there.
Right, okay.
Yep, okay. Obviously I'll
What about
say,
your mum?
a little bit more complicated.
Okay.
That's why I said, can I go upstairs and show you?
Right, can you
If
explain
wanna
it to us,
bring
please? Because
officers,
we're trying to preserve this. It's now going to be seen, so we need to preserve this the best we can. So I don't want you to have you walking up there, all right? Because that's for your well-being as well as ours.
Oh, no, up.
Okay.
Up.
So what?
Thank you.
Where
Can I grab
will
some
we
hairbands
find your
as
mum?
well, if possible?
Where will we find your mum?
Okay, so upstairs there are about 5 wardrobes.
Yep.
It's behind the bed at the back next to the sink. It's the second one. I slipped 5 of those into his drink. There were about 2 or 3 drinks that I brought downstairs. And yeah, they were basically, he didn't drink all of them. He only drank probably about half of 2. But yeah, when I went in the morning, this was before my mother. When I went in the morning, early hours, I got up about half an hour early, about 6 o'clock in the morning. Came in and he was gone. He was gone.
Okay. It's up to you if you want to talk.
Yeah,
But the thing is, purpose of your arrest is for a prompt, effective investigation as well as by questioning you. We can't do that here. It needs to be done at a police station, all right?
I did know that this would kind of come eventually. It's proper that I serve my punishment. So, yeah.
Okay, so Virginia, I'm just going to ask you this. This is what I've written down based on the information you just told us, because what we regard as a significant comment, because you've made it under caution after your arrest.
By the way, they're my granddad's.
Okay, right. So I've written this, please. I, Virginia McCullough, have informed Police Constables 77329 Brown and 79387 Bowers after entering my house on Friday the 15th September 2023 that I murdered my father, John McCullough, who was stated was under a bed in the rear ground floor of the house, and my mother upstairs in a cupboard next to the sink.
Wardrobe. It's a double wardrobe.
Right, okay, I've written
Double
cupboard.
wardrobe. It's like 4 wardrobes, but it's the one nearest the sink. Double wardrobe.
The cupboard.
Yeah.
What's significant as I've written down here now, I've just read out to you. Are you happy to sign that, to say that's a true account?
Yeah. Cheer up, at least you caught the bad guy.
I'm just waking up today and done my job. No.
I don't seem
Not a lot.
100% evil, but we all, yeah.
I'm not going to comment on anything. It's not my job to comment on it, okay? Because I've got to be impartial with everything, okay? So I'm not going to give any comment.
No, well, I mean, I deserve to obviously get whatever's coming sentence-wise, because that's the right thing to do. And that might give me a bit of peace. Also in the handbag as well, there's and again, because you're probably going to need to know about it, there's a card in there, card one money, and that's a bank card where there's a lot of transactions that have taken place over the last few years from money that pertains to my parents. So, murder weapon is upstairs in the toilet room, kitchen knife, it's in the middle of the brown carpet, against the wall, opposite the shelves, so there are 2 long white shelves, so opposite where that wall is, that's where the knife is. So next bit is very hard to talk about. That's probably the most grisly detail. So on the ground floor, underneath the stairs, there's a few like storage boxes and things. And in the middle, I think it's in one of the boxes or in a bag or something. If you want me to shush after this, it's fine. But every bit helps. You will find forensically it's helpful. There's a hammer. I know, but I'm trying to help so you find everything. It's in the middle underneath the stairs. It will still have blood on it. It's rusted, but it will still have blood traces on it.
Inside the home, officers discovered the concealed bodies of John McCullough. His remains were found in a makeshift tomb constructed from masonry blocks and other materials in a downstairs room. Lois McCullough's body was located in an upstairs wardrobe, wrapped in a sleeping bag and concealed amongst household items. The house had effectively become a crypt, with Virginia continuing her daily life amidst the concealed corpses. Virginia was arrested without incident, Her demeanour during the arrest was notably calm, and she acknowledged the gravity of her actions. This marked the end of her prolonged deception and the beginning of legal proceedings that would eventually lead to a conviction and sentencing. Following the discovery of her parents' concealed bodies, Virginia was taken into custody by Essex police. During her arrest, Virginia exhibited a chilling demeanour, telling the officer, "Cheer up, at least you've caught the bad guy." She further remarked, "I know I don't seem 100% evil." In subsequent interviews, Virginia provided detailed accounts of the murders. She confessed to poisoning her father, John, by crushing prescription medications into his alcoholic drinks, leading to his death. Regarding her mother, Virginia admitted to attacking her with a hammer and then stabbing her multiple times. Horrifically, she described the act as like someone badly playing the xylophone or something. Virginia also disclosed the locations of the murder weapons, stating that the hammer will still have blood on it. Throughout the interrogation, Virginia remained composed, acknowledging the gravity of her actions and expressing an understanding of the consequences she would face. The information provided during these interrogations played a crucial role in the subsequent legal proceedings, leading to Virginia's conviction and sentencing. On the 4th of July 2024 at Chelmsford Crown Court, Virginia McCullough pleaded guilty to 2 counts of murder. Her admission spared the family the ordeal of a lengthy trial, but did little to mitigate the horror of her actions. While her conduct also involved financial fraud and deception, these were not pursued as separate criminal charges. Instead, they were considered as aggravating factors during her sentencing for the murders. The sentencing phase commenced on the 11th of October 2024. Presiding over the case, Mr. Justice Johnson delivered a scathing rebuke of Virginia's actions. He highlighted the premeditated nature of the murders, noting that Virginia McCullough had begun contemplating the killings as early as March 2019. Her motive, as revealed in court, stemmed from a desire to free herself from the financial and personal constraints posed by her parents, whom she had been deceiving and stealing from for years. Justice Johnson underscored the profound betrayal inherent in Virginia's actions, stating, "Your conduct amounted to a gross violation of the trust that should exist between parents and their children." He emphasized that the murders were committed for financial gain following prolonged economic abuse of her parents. Considering the severity of the crimes, Virginia McCullough was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 36 years. This means she will not be eligible for parole until 2060, when she will be 72 years old. Justice Johnson deliberated on the possibility of a whole life order but ultimately decided against it, acknowledging her immediate admissions to the police and her guilty pleas. He concluded, having regard to all the circumstances of the case, this is not one of those cases of the most exceptional seriousness where a whole life order, as a sentence of last resort, is required. As Virginia McCullough begins a life sentence, the echoes of her actions continue to resonate, serving as a somber reminder of the depths of human deception and the fragility of familial trust. For 4 years, Virginia McCullough lived a lie, one built on deception, manipulation, and murder. She stole from her parents and silenced them in the most brutal way possible, and then carried on as if they never existed. She kept up appearances, spun a web of lies, and convinced everyone that nothing was wrong. But the truth always finds a way to surface. John and Lois were taken by the one person that they should have been able to trust the most, their own daughter, and while justice has finally been served, no sentence can undo what she has done. A family is shattered, a community is left in shock, and 2 lives were stolen for nothing more than financial desperation. Some killers act on impulse, some kill out of rage, but Virginia, she killed for convenience. This was the Silent Casebook, where we tell the stories that go unheard, the crimes that slip through the cracks, and the truths that demand to be uncovered. If you found this case as unsettling as we did, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the Silent Casebook, and turn on your notifications so you never miss an episode.